Hello and welcome back to the Bright Light Wellness YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to chat with you today about metabolic flexibility. This is such an important topic, and I'm really excited to share this information with you because I know it will be really helpful on healing your own metabolism and healing your own metabolic issues and your health issues and your hormone issues and all the things. So let's get into it. So first of all, what do I mean by metabolic flexibility? What does that word even mean? So you have different kinds of metabolisms. In the mitochondria, where you make energy, okay, you have the ability to use different fuel sources, right? So first of all, we have to understand that our mitochondria make energy for us, right? ATP energy production. And that's the byproduct of having good exclusion zone water, which is another topic of conversation. And you can check out my videos on cellular hydration to learn more about that. But the mitochondria do make exclusion zone water. And then the product of that is they also make ATP energy production, right? And our fuel sources come from many different sources, actually, not just food, right? We can get energy from food in the form of electrons because food breaks down as electrons and it goes through the electron transport chain, and the end product or the byproduct is energy production or cellular energy. We can also make energy in other ways because the ways we make energy is we have to gather electrons, right? Electrons that fuel our mitochondria and then make us cellular energy. And we can gather electrons from sunlight, from movement. From sunlight, it's called the photoelectric effect. From movement, it's called the piezoelectric effect. And from earthing, right, when we're outside and we're grounding and we're earthing, we can gather in Earth's energy and electrons. So we're soaking in those electrons, we're soaking in that negative charge. We can also gather electrons from connection, right? There are lots of ways. That we can gather energy from our environment. But food is the main source that people think of. Now, the more that you can focus on gathering your energy from other sources, the less likely you're going to need food as an energy source, right? But we can gather energy from food, and we're going to focus on that today. So there are two really main pathways that our metabolism works on, or our energy production works on, and it's called AMPK and mTOR. And AMPK is kind of like our winter metabolism, or it should be our winter metabolism. Most of us are not activating AMPK very often because we are living in what I call, or T.S. Wiley called in the book Lights Out, the Never-Ending Summer, where we're never really honoring the scarcity of winter or the lack of carbohydrates in winter, and we're always living in the mTOR, or the metabolism of summer. We live in a summer abundance where food is always available, and the lights are always on, right? Like it's always summer. Um, so let's back up a little bit because I know I've said a lot of things. So we have these two different metabolisms, and basically what that means is AMPK pathway is when we're burning more ketones. We're burning more fats for fuel. And when we burn fats for fuel, we actually make 4 times more energy and more metabolic water or more cellular hydration because fats enter at step 2 in the electron transport chain. So there's less electron leakage, right? Because the electrons have to jump from one respiratory protein to the other. So when they enter at step 2 instead of step 1, right, they're going in at the second step, there's less chance for you to lose electrons or lose energy. So you actually make 4 times more energy and you make 4 times more cellular water as well, or exclusion zone water. So burning fats for fuel is a good strategy. That's one way we can burn fats for fuel. And if you are honoring winter or seasons and you're eating a local seasonal ancestral diet and you're honoring the darkness and the scarcity of winter, you will naturally get into more ketosis throughout winter because there's not a lot of carbohydrate availability. So you're giving your body that signal of scarcity and it starts switching into the AMPK metabolism, right? The other metabolism is mTOR, is where we burn glucose for fuel, okay? When we burn glucose for fuel, we're at the electrons are entering at step one in the mitochondria, and there can be more leakage of that. It's just more likely that we are going to generate more reactive oxygen species and leak electrons, and that can create a little bit more inflammation. It doesn't mean we shouldn't use glucose as fuel. We actually really want to use glucose for fuel, especially we want to give our body during the summer months that, that signal of abundance. The summer and fall are the harvest, are the abundance, are the light. We want to be activating mTOR. We want to be able to activate both of these metabolisms. And when you live with seasonal variations or the natural infradian rhythms, right, that nature provides, you will be activating both of these metabolisms, right? So now you understand, right? You have this mTOR, which is more glucose burning for energy, and we have our AMPK, which is more of this ketones and scarcity and metabolism, right? mTOR is more abundance, glucose, summer, all that, lots of light. AMPK is darkness, it's scarcity, it's ketones, all that. Okay, now you understand you have these two metabolisms. Okay, most of us lived in mTOR all the time. Like I lived in mTOR most of my life. I was always activating mTOR and never activating AMPK because I was always living in the never-ending summer. I always used glucose as my primary fuel source. And besides, I did not go outside or get in sunlight or use earthing or use movement or all these other strategies. And my food, I always ate a lot of carbohydrates, like most of us do, right? I mean, as a kid in the 90s, I get it. I would come home and eat cupcakes and, I mean, cereals for breakfast. And just we live in this modern life where we just kind of eat all the things and we eat whatever we want, whenever we want it. But I always lived in that metabolism and I never activated the AMK pathway. My body did not know how to burn ketones or how to burn fat for fuel. It only knew how to burn glucose for fuel. So your body actually, when it has metabolic, okay, wait a minute, before I go there, that resulted in me having a lot of blood sugar dysregulation. I was always hungry. I always needed a snack. I had to have a banana or a Honeycrisp apple or a granola bar or a Lara bar or something with me because when you burn glucose for fuel all the time, right, your body is always needing its next that is a quick energy source, right? It's quick. And your body is always needing more and more and more and more, or just frequent meals because it needs more energy because it burns through it very quickly. So then it needs another snack, another energy source, another snack, another energy source. And then what happens is your digestion never gets a break and it starts having digestive issues. And then what happens is your leptin becomes dysregulated because your leptin signaling never also gets a break, right? Because you're always feasting, you're never fasting, you're never activating the other pathway. Your body doesn't know what to do. So as soon as you don't eat for a little while, you start to feel symptoms. You start to get hangry, you start to get a headache, you start to feel dizzy, you start to feel nauseous, you start to feel symptomatic, right? You feel unclear, you get a headache, all these things come up because your body does not efficiently know how to say, oh, there's no food around. I have stored energy on my body. Do you know what that stored energy is on your body? It's your fat. Your fat is stored energy. Fat is stored energy. That's why we have it. That's why we store fat. So we can store energy to use at a later date. Pretty cool, right? That's why women need to have more fat because we need to have more energy for our fluctuating hormones. We need to have more energy for making babies, right? And men can survive with a lower fat ratio on their body because they don't have those things. Okay, now we understand we need to be acting. Now we understand that it's not really healthy to always live in the never-ending summer and never activate or tap into our stored fat or our stored energy on our body by getting into ketosis. Now, some of you might be listening to this and saying, "Oh, I know the solution Vanessa is going to say is to go on a keto diet and go on and be on a keto diet for my whole life." No, wrong. No, 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 no. In fact, I think living in ketosis all the time, or any kind of carnivore or paleo or autoimmune diet or any kind of diet, that is noise. That's not true. We need to shift with the seasons. Our metabolism, our gut microbiome, all need to shift with the seasons, and our diet should not look the same winter versus summer or 365 every single day. Our diet should be shifting and changing with each season. It's springtime. What's coming out for me? It's dandelion roots. It's arugula. I just got arugula at the farm, right? All of these greens are coming up to help cleanse the liver, right? This time of year. We need to be shifting with the seasons, okay? So I don't recommend a keto diet long term unless for some reason you have like epilepsy or some sort of like really like something like that that needs a ketogenic diet to heal. But for the majority of people, no. That will tank your leptin. It will downregulate your thyroid long term. It will, and I'm saying if you are always in ketosis, it will downregulate your hormone production. You'll start to have mineral imbalances, right? Ketosis is not a long-term thing. What the goal is metabolic flexibility. And metabolic flexibility means that your body is capable of burning both glucose for fuel and glucose for fuel, excuse me, or a mTOR, right? And also, it can also get into AMPK and burn ketones or fat for fuel. And it can do this effortlessly without you having to even try. This is something I share all the time. And I took some repairing my metabolism has taken time. I want you to understand that. And it's taken consistent effort, and it's taken being intentional about how to repair my metabolism and learn how to tap into my fat storage or my energy storage in between meals. If I would have done this 7 years ago, I would have been like, I am hungry, I am hangry, my energy is crashing, I need a banana, I have a headache, I'm feeling dizzy, all these things, right? Now I ate breakfast at 8:30 this morning, and here it is. It's almost 3 o'clock, and I am fine. I could probably go to the next morning and be fine because my body right now, it's tapping into my stored energy. I guarantee if I go check my meter to see if I'm in ketosis, I am. My body has been trained to learn how to go in and out of ketosis. It goes in and out of burning glucose for fuel and fat for fuel. It is metabolically flexible. This takes time. Sometimes you need to work with a coach, but it is a healthy thing that we all should do. If you think about how we used to live back in the past, we used to, right, go through like feasts and famine, right? We used to go through summers and winters or times where there's be more scarcity and times when there's an abundance, right? So by living with the natural rhythms of the seasons, by honoring the day and night cycles, by eating with the rhythm of the sun, this has naturally happened. By honoring a seasonal, local, ancestral diet, I have naturally learned how to burn fat for fuel. And I effortlessly am in ketosis regularly. I wake up in ketosis a lot of mornings, not always. Sometimes I need to pay attention to my cycle. I need to eat more carbs, especially the week before my cycle, so I don't wake up in ketosis, and that is okay. But my body gets into ketosis regularly, all the time. I know I'm sleeping and I'm in ketosis. While I'm sleeping, my body's in ketosis and it's getting more repair mode, but I don't stay in ketosis. I don't stay there. I come in and out, and it's not even like I have to think about it. I don't have to say, oh, I'm going to have a low carb day and a high carb day. I just automatically do it because of the way that I live my lifestyle, right? I automatically don't eat late at night, so I get longer fasts throughout each night, and then my body like has to get into ketosis. But a lot of people they have trouble with that. They need a snack at night. They need a something to eat at night before they go to bed, because if they don't and their body stops, doesn't have enough glucose, their glucose runs out, then they run into a problem and they start having symptoms. So they wake up at heart palpitations or frequent urination, or really thirsty. All these symptoms can come out if they have not taught or haven't taught their body how to burn fat for fuel as well. So I hope that this is making sense, and you want to be able to be metabolically flexible, where your body can go in and out of these two metabolisms very, very easily. And if you've done that, you're healing your metabolism. And that's really important, because we should be able to go hours without food and it's okay. We shouldn't be always needing a snack. We shouldn't always be having blood sugar crashes or feeling weak or dizzy or hangry, or we should be able to sleep through the night when we're repairing without needing food. And if you've gotten to yourself to a place where you're not able to achieve these things, working with someone like me, who is a coach who can guide you on how to regain your metabolic flexibility back, is recommended. Okay. And I'll give you a few tips here, is that you want to, eat with the rhythm of the sun. You want to honor a local seasonal ancestral diet. You want to honor the light and dark cycles in your area, in your latitude, because if you can upregulate or spike your glucose, insulin, cortisol, and blood sugar just by looking at artificial blue light at night. This is scientific data. Okay. You want to preserve your melatonin so you can heal and repair each night. Okay. If you want to learn more about this, you can work with me. I have one-to-one coaching options. You can work with me one-to-one. You can work with me by purchasing one of my webinars. All of my webinars would help, but my Get Your Light Right webinar and ebook would be great. I'll teach you how to optimize your light environment, which optimizes your cravings, your hormones, your neurotransmitters, your repair processes, your cellular hydration, all the things, your cellular repair. You can get my ancestrally and seasonally nourished recipe ebook and webinar. That will also help you kind of understand how to implement a local seasonal ancestral diet and kind of help you navigate what to eat through each season. You can also work with me with a personalized healthcare plan, where I will tailor plans, directly to you and your needs, and teach you how to get into metabolic flexibility. But if you're someone who those plans are for people who can, and the webinars are for people who can, okay, learn information and implement. If you're somebody who needs support and a guide and a coach, you need to, I would recommend the one-to-one coaching. And then new on my website is a nutritional assessment and nutrition and lifestyle assessment, where you can book in with that. It's a 2-hour consultation where I learn all about you, get some ideas about how to support you, and then I work with you continuously. So you book in with that first plan, that first 2-hour session where I kind of take an assessment and I learn about you and I gather all this information, and then I continuously support you with follow-up sessions as well. So I'll give you the tools and strategies and tell you what to implement, and then we continue to work together. So it's like coaching, but you're not locked into a plan, where my one-to-one coaching plan is a 3-month coaching plan. This is where you don't have to make as long as of a commitment, where you could work with me and, book in right there on my services page and decide how many sessions you want to do. But I do think the longer commitment you make with somebody, the more results you're going to get. So I hope that's helpful, and it teaches you a little bit about your different metabolisms that your body has access to, and how accessing, these other metabolisms is really healing. The freedom of metabolic flexibility is being able to go hours without eating. The freedom of metabolic flexibility is being able to, not have to have food on your mind 24/7. I know a lot of people who are food addicted, and I know I used to be myself. I'd always be like, oh, what's the next meal? What am I eating next? Like, it was always on my brain. And it's like, I don't think about it. Like, I have so much more space in my brain to not think about food and just kind of like live my life, because I've given my body that gift of knowing how to burn fat for fuel. And so many of us have lost that just due to modern living, just due to always eating a ton of carbohydrates in our diet, just due to, always just living in this perpetual, never-ending summer, and also the light environment that we're in, and never also using these other energy sources that we have from nature. So I hope that's really helpful to you. It's something I'm very passionate about, is teaching my clients how to do this. And the more that your body can do this, the healthier you will be also, because we shouldn't be relying on food all the time. That creates a lot of reactive oxygen species, that creates a lot of excess. And I don't want you to think that's inflammation, by the way. I don't want you to think that you should just go to fasting or just totally cut carbs right away, because you will have issues also, because it's got to be a slow, gradual adaptation. Your body's not ready for that. It's like we got to put on the training wheels and then take one off, right? And then we need somebody to guide you through it. It's a process. Don't just say, hear this video and say, oh, I got to teach my body how to learn fat for fuel. I'm going to cut out all my carbohydrates and then I'm going to go on a 2-day water fast. Like, you will crash and burn. Like, your body and metabolism isn't trained yet. It doesn't know how to do those things. You can't just like do it. Like, it's just, that's not good advice. And if anybody who tells you to just get right into a fast when you've been eating, 300 carbohydrates a day, or even 150 carbohydrates a day, you're going to have a problem, and you're going to run into issues, and you're going to have really poor nights of sleep, and you're going to feel like crap. And that's not how I would work this at all. It's a gradual progression, and taking the training wheels off and learning it's like teaching your body a new skill. It needs to be gradual. All right, I hope that was really helpful. Have an incredible day. I will talk to you guys on the next video. Any questions, comments, please leave them below. My website is brightlightwellnesscoach.com. You can always book a clarity call if you're unsure. And I also am a classical homeopath, and I support people's metabolism with homeopathy as well. It's also a really great way, because it's just bringing your body back into balance, giving it more stable energy, and just making your body function a lot better. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. I will talk to you guys on the next video, and have a wonderful day.